first incited the riots claim that they are doing this for Britain. And I'm simplifying when I say that the basis of their narrative is that much of the negative issues facing British citizens today are because of immigrants. Somewhere along the line, the social, economic, legal, and even historic differences between immigrants and illegal immigrants began to blur amongst the far right, and now I'm not so sure that the protesters who claim to be protecting our country truly understand the difference. More critically, I think that we have a deeper issue in society, and it's been festering for a long time. And those protesting about illegal immigrants, or even immigrants for that matter, are using one situation as an outlet and an excuse to vent. The media and the government play a big part in this. What we see in the rise is downright racism, and that is never okay, especially when expressed in such a violent manner. But, and there is a but, I think that people have legitimate grievances that the government need to deal with, because it is the root of the problem, and simply sweeping those issues away as we have done historically, especially by use of stern speeches on facing the full force of the law, is just not going to work, at least not anymore.
I utterly condemn the far-right thuggery we've seen this weekend. Be in no doubt, those that have participated in this violence will face the full force of the law.
Well, Kier must be wiping his brow in relief that the protests seem to have fizzled out. And I will clarify that what we saw on the streets was indeed wrong, but we do have to consider that when people get to this point, it's usually because they think that the people in charge have not been hearing them or dealing with the real issues that matter to them in their everyday lives. So they need to take things into their own hands and, worse, hijack an issue that isn't really anything to do with what they're feeling. What does this mean? The protests are fizzling out now, but it's clear that this issue hasn't gone away because we haven't really dealt with it. And so, in time, it will rear its ugly head again. We probably have the anti-protesters to thank more than the government for the fizzling out of this far-right movement. It's a really great show of British culture when British people are keen to protect our peace and our country. But I think when anti-protesters have to get involved, it also shows a dismal lack of trust in the Home Office and this administration, that they can show true leadership at a time of civil unrest. Kier's speech on his Home Office failure to show true leadership indicates to me that they're hoping that this matter is simply forgotten. They actually have a real opportunity here to be a proper Labour government, and it bewilders me that they are not taking this opportunity. When manufacturing was vastly slowed in the 1980s, our northern regions suffered the most. Overall, the country benefited, but the people directly affected were not justly compensated. A more modern Conservative government came up with a levelling up agenda which theoretically was brilliant. It tackled the heart of the issue. Regions that were prosperous were in poverty because they had lost their major employment source, and there was little connectivity between cities in the north and less incentive for business and growth. Opportunities for children remained scarce, and all of this whilst London thrived. It's normal that the capital thrives, but what was vastly unfair was that the removal of opportunities for employment and growth in other regions were never fully replaced. And that is what the levelling up agenda sought to do. It was a brilliant idea, but infighting in central government saw that fall apart pretty quickly. I think that that's the basis of the real issue here. Then we add on the more modern and talked about matter, that we do indeed have a social system that's not well controlled, which means that there are people who benefit from the system. It only adds fuel to the fire. Successive British governments have been allergic to any measures that might be seen in a negative light, and they've simply let the social system grow into an untamable beast, which does save many, but is also abused by the masses. Kier's government would have found that if they were brave enough to accept that we do have an issue with people taking advantage of the system, there are various meanings of that, and that inequality is rife in areas lacking real investment, and that people feel hard done by, they could come out of this victorious. But no, Kier's leaders, instead of being political, are encouraging people to be violent instead. Earlier this week, we looked at Jess Phillips' random X posts. Now we have this.
We've got children and women using those trains, destroying the summer relatives. They are disgusting, nasty bastards, and we need to cull their throats and get rid of them all. I just want to say thank you all. I'm going to leave it now. And free!
A Labour councillor so brazenly inciting violence, and then goes into a chant about freeing Palestine, cutting throats. What is wrong with you? And the constant combining of Israel versus Palestine issues with domestic matters is making the whole reasoning for people protesting and anti-protesters incoherent. I genuinely think these people in this video don't even know why they're there. Now, I'll be honest, I like a good troll, guilty pleasure. Elon Musk v. Kier Starmer is brilliant. So Kier blames social media platforms for inciting the riots instead of looking for solutions. So Musk simply reposted some questionable tweets from Labour MP Lauren Edwards. And this trolling really began when Musk tweeted directly at the Prime Minister, "Why aren't all communities protected?" That's a direct point to growing accusations that this government is supporting a two-tiered approach to policing. As for people using platforms to incite violence, Kier, please look within your party. But this is the change Labour, right? For the many, as the old saying goes. The best for everyone. Or is this the same old Labour who feels the need to bow to some in the name of anti-racism, whilst one, allowing and encouraging the hatred for an opposing group of people to grow with violent words instead of diplomatic approach and real governing, and two, failing to show all communities that they are equally protected and respected in the society? Isn't Labour supposed to be the flagship of equality? Now, as for the Tories, because I have to be fair, I imagine Jenrick's statement of people yelling Allahu Akbar led to a collective groan and facepalm from his team trying to get him elected as leader of the Conservatives. Oh, Jenrick, you know it's over, right? You are not going to be leader now. I think that civil unrest, sadly, is at hand. And that's because this new government desperately wanted the job, but didn't really fully research the job requirements before applying. By the way, we still haven't recalled Parliament. Tell me your thoughts. But for now, that's it for Rebellious Politico.